Hello, Mom and Dad Meet World. So we had actually picked up the M3 MacBook Air. This is the 15-inch model. This is the base configuration, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and I would actually show it to you, but we're actually using it right now to record on. I've actually got it in clamshell mode, desktop mode. Display is closed, hooked up to a Thunderbolt 3 dock, a CalDigit TS3 Plus dock, and a dual Thunderbolt display setup. So I've got two Thunderbolt displays hooked up with this computer. This computer actually replaced the M1 MacBook Pro 13-inch with 16 gigs of memory, 512 gigs of storage, and it replaced an M2 Mac Mini base model, again with 8 gigabytes of memory, 256 gigs of storage. And this MacBook Air, I think, is going to be a good combination to actually replace the two, because I do love having the MagSafe 3, and I do love having it being portable, so I can just unplug it and take it with me on the go. But we actually do use another computer. We actually use a 14-inch M3 Max MacBook Pro. That's the base configuration of that, which is the bin model CPU GPU, and we've got 36 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. And then you may ask, well, how come you're actually using this computer when you have another powerful computer when you want to get something like a Mac Studio? Well, we actually had a Mac Studio. We replaced it with that M3 Max 14-inch MacBook Pro, and then, as I said, those two other computers, the M1 13-inch and the M2 Mac Mini, are both replaced right now with the 15-inch MacBook Pro, and it's because of that 15-inch display. With what I do a lot of clerical works and a lot of just something where I do need just a little bit more workspace. So having that 15-inch display allows me to put up like a PowerPoint, a Word document, or a couple Word documents working right next to each other. So that I do love. But let's talk about this computer. You are actually watching me right here. We are using a Canon M200 hooked up to a capture card. You're listening to me on a Shure microphone hooked up to an audio interface, and this is all actually going into the 15-inch base model M3 MacBook Air. And I do gotta admit, that is pretty darn impressive. So we are gonna actually switch cameras, and I will show you what the computer looks like. Hello, Mom and Dad Meet World. So we actually have the 15-inch MacBook Air, the M3 MacBook Air. I've got it right here. This is what was actually powering the recording at the beginning of the video, but I wanted to make a video as to why you would actually get the base model M3 15-inch MacBook Air. And first of all, I do gotta say it is quite portable. So this does have a case on here. I've already got a sticker on here, but as you can see, it is actually quite very thin. It actually is bigger than the 14-inch, or definitely the 13-inch MacBook Air and the 14-inch MacBook Pro, but it is super thin, about a pound lighter than the 16-inch MacBook Pro. And don't get me wrong, if I could have the 16-inch MacBook Pro, I definitely would, but it is actually, as I said, a pound more and about $2,000 more at least in cost for the configuration I would like to get, because if I'm going to get one, I'm going to go with the M3 Max 16-inch MacBook Pro, probably the unbin version if you're going to spend that much money, and that's probably the configuration I would get. So the second reason, so with this being the 15-inch MacBook Pro, I do love that display size. With having that 15-inch display size, I've actually got the 14-inch MacBook Pro right here. So the 14-inch, definitely about the same size as the 15-inch. You can see here 15-inch is just a tad little bit bigger, but the 15-inch does have quite a bit more of screen real estate than this 14-inch, especially if you're doing what I'm doing in a sense of if you're if you have two Word documents, or you've got a Word document on one side, an Excel file on the other side, or a PowerPoint and a Word document, and you're switching between windows, you want the most screen real estate you could possibly get. So one might actually argue that the 14-inch is mini LED. It is still Retina. It's 120 Hz ProMotion, where the 15-inch, again, it's not mini LED, but it is IPS LCD, and it does have 60 Hz versus 120 Hz ProMotion. But again, this is for what I do. They're both going to be crispy sharp when looking at text, and again, it's just going to have just a little bit more screen real estate when it comes to actually working with my particular use case. So the next thing, when it comes to, we're going to stick on the topic of displays. This can actually support two external displays when in clamshell mode. So in this mode right here, if you don't have it open, you close this down, you have this hooked to power. Yes, it just turned on, but if you have this hooked to power and have it hooked up to your display. So in this particular setup, I've got two Thunderbolt displays. They're actually right here to my left, and I've got it hooked up to a Thunderbolt dock in the CalDigit TS3 Plus. So the two monitors are daisy chained together. So I'm using one USB-C Thunderbolt cable for that and one cable for the Thunderbolt display. I've actually got them right here, and it actually works quite well. As you have seen from the start of the video, it can actually power a lot of devices, all going into these two ports right here. So that leads me to the next reason why I actually really like this M3 Max 15-inch MacBook Air. It's because it does have enough power to do everything I actually need it to do, with a bunch of clerical work, office, Teams. I do a bunch of that type of work, and I do a little bit of photo editing and a little bit of video editing. So to give you a real world example, to export a 7-minute video clip using the M3 Max 14-inch MacBook Pro, it took around less than 2 minutes, should I say, for a 7-minute export. And to do that very same export on the M3 MacBook Air, this is again the 15-inch model with those extra GPU cores, it took approximately 4.5 minutes, so more than double the time, but it can 100% do it. And as I said, clerical work, Microsoft Office products, Slack, remote desktop, this can handle it without issue, but yet powerful enough to hook up to two Thunderbolt displays and a Thunderbolt dock, powering a bunch of peripherals all hooked up to this computer. So I did miss something here. So one of the things that this does come with is this small battery charger. It is compact and lightweight. It's actually got two, and I love having MagSafe on here. So this is not a fast charger, but I actually do love having this charge slowly, because I know if we will keep this for many years to come, that the battery life will not degrade as fast, because we are not fast charging it. We are just going with a nice, slow and steady charge with this provided charger. And I do again love having the MagSafe, where it just magnetically charges. And as far as battery goes, this is indeed almost a 2 full day use laptop. I almost got 2 full days of use, and that is with doing a couple of video edits directly on this with the battery life, and that's pretty darn amazing. So if you're going to do nothing but really like web browsing, listening to music, watching videos, office work, you will get 2 full days of use. And I wasn't easy on the brightness. I did work in front of a window, worked on the couch, just brought it around with me. So anywhere from nice dim lighting to very bright lighting, to where I do have the display set to automatic brightness, so it will just get that display nice and bright, or turn it down just a tad bit. So the last thing I want to say is, if you think you will outgrow your use case with this particular computer, or if you plan on keeping this particular computer for many years to come, which I think it will do just fine, then I would definitely suggest going up to the 16 gig model. Again, this is the 8 gig model, but going up to the 16 gig model, and then going up to at least 512 gigs of storage, if not do the 1 terabyte of storage for all of your storage needs. I do quite a bit on here, and 256, I have been very surprised. I was surprised with the M2 Mac Mini, and I'm even more surprised with the M3 Max that I have been able to get by with 256 gigs of storage. Again, I do use cloud storage from Apple, and it's provided to be a very good setup for my use case. Again, if you think your use case will outgrow your static needs now, or if you do plan on keeping it for many years to come and you want to do a little bit of future proofing, go ahead and do upgrade. But for right now, if you plan on working on the web, doing light desktop applications, or even some heavier lifting in the form of video editing or photo editing, then you definitely might want to consider this. But if you are very unsure, buy it from your local Apple store, and if you don't like it, return it or buy it from another electronics store who does have an excellent return policy that you know will absolutely take it back without question. It's one of those try before you buy, because again, even though this is what we picked it up for was $1,100, less than $1,100 after tax out the door, it's still quite a bit of money, and you want to make sure that that is going to fit your needs and it's going to be something you like. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. It really helps out our channel. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now.